Whoa! Well, hello there. I didn't see you. Kind of scared me because there was nobody here till a second ago. But you know what? It's all good. It's all good. Welcome back. Lesson 102. And if this thing continues going for a couple more weeks, I do have a real conundrum in my hands because I could actually keep on teaching each day, right? And so it's 102. So if I finish this lesson today, which I will, obviously, we will have 18 more lessons of math. So, yeah. By the end of this week, or the week that we're supposed to be done with the 2-week thing, we're supposed to be in lesson 104. But if it keeps on going just one more week, it'll be 109. It'll be 11 lessons left. And if they extend it by 2 weeks, it would be lesson 114. It would be 6 lessons left. And then if they extend it a little bit longer, it would just be 1 lesson left. And so I could literally teach the whole thing before we go to school. I'm not sure what's going to happen because obviously I'm not recording the week of. I'm recording way in advance. So don't know what's going to happen. But, you know, I would rather just keep on teaching each day, and if it gets to it, then I would just try to do math tests. Probably I would have to do a bunch of math tests, like maybe like 7 or so for the class. And so what I would do is it would have the same type of questions, but what would change is the numbers. So every other test would have, every 2 tests would have a different number. And then I would just distribute it randomly. But obviously, if I know that you talk to certain people, I'm not going to give you the same test as certain people. Just because, you know, if there was allegations of, you know, people not being very honest while taking tests and quizzes in school, I don't even want to know what happens if we do it online. And so, as you know, the 3rd quarter grade is already done. So if we even like go into it, into the first, like into March or something like that, I wouldn't have to do any of that because I would have already be done with the book. And then we could just take our sweet time taking tests. Obviously, they're not going to be, you know, back to back. But I would have to figure something out. The other teachers, you know, would have to talk about like who's giving tests where, because we don't want to just like, you know, saturate you with tests and stuff. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. But all I'm saying is that we are dangerously close to finishing the book. And it could be a possibility before we get back then. But if not, understand something. If we're going to keep on going through this thing, you're not going to have any tests. All you will have to do is keep on doing the lessons, okay? And I already talked to Lily. I already have a deal with her. Don't you even try, okay? It's going to be cool. So, yeah, let's get into lesson 102, solving quadratic equations using square roots. All right, example 1, it has 2 parts, A and B. So A is over here. Let's go over A. Pretty easy because we have to square root both sides. Boom and boom. And so X would be plus minus 5. Well, it's crazy. Plus minus 5? Yes. So the answer would actually be X is 5 or X is negative 5. Oh, yes. And that's it. I mean, you can check. How do we check? We put the negative 5 here. What is negative 5 squared? Negative 5 squared is 25. Whoa, crazy. Or the 5. 5 squared is 25. Okay, so then let's move on here. Because we would obviously square root both sides. So X would be square root of negative 16. Hold on. Because we know that negative 4 squared is 16. And 4 squared is 16. This, you can't have a negative square root. So in here, that's it. We get that to that point. Sorry, the mic got caught into the tripod. Let me just move it for a second. Okay. Whew, much better. And so once we do that, we understand that x cannot be plus or minus negative square root of 16 because negative square root of 16 does not exist. We don't know what it is. And so what we're going to say that it is going to be there is no real, very important this part, no real solution. I hope you can see it. Let me go check. Yes, there is no real solution. And that would be it. So that is it for example 1. All right, in example 2, we also have two problems. We have A and B, and they're pretty easy because we're supposed to subtract 3 from both sides, and so it's going to be x squared equals 49. We're going to square root both sides, and x is supposed to be plus or minus 7. Okay, so x is going to be 7, or x is going to be negative 7. So how do we check? Really easy. We put it right here back. So negative 7 squared is going to be 49. 49 plus 3 is 52. Yes. And 7. 7 squared is 49 plus 3 equals 52. I checked. Booyah. And so in here, second part of example 2, we're going to move 100 to the other side. And so it's going to be 4x squared equals 100. Then we're going to divide by 4 on both sides. And so x squared is going to be 25. Then we're going to square root both sides. Yes. And we're going to get x is plus or minus 5. Okay. So how do we check? Plus 5. 5 squared is going to be 25. 25 times 4 is 100. 100 minus 100 equals 0. Okay. So that's for positive. So it is positive 5. Is it going to be negative 5? Well, let's check. Negative 5 squared is going to be 25 still, because negative and negative is positive, and 5 times 5 is 25. So 4 times 25 is going to be 100, minus 100 equals 0. Boom. I finished example 2, because it could be, for the first part, it could be x minus 7, or x minus 7, x equals 7, or x equals negative 7. And in the second part, I don't know if you can hear that lovely sound. It could be x equals 5 or x equals negative 5. And that would be it for the second example. All right, for the last example, we also have 2 examples, but I want to go over this one first. It's not that it's super hard. It's actually really easy, and we're going to be using our handy dandy calculator. Booyah. I finally have one in color. I'm so excited. All right, let's just turn it off. Conserve the battery, you know. And so, then what we're going to do, oh, by the way, you know, if you're super bored, you can obviously play with your calculator games if you want to, but I don't know why you would do that. I'm sure somebody's going to be playing the video games in your calculator while watching the video and be like, hey, Mr. Thamba, I guess you're not going to get my calculator. No, I'm not right now. All right, so we have x squared equals 40, and then we're going to square root both sides. And so it's going to be x equals this. This is going to be square root of 4 times square root of 10. It is square root of 40, I know, but then if you do the prime factorization, it will be 2 times 2 times 2 times 5, right? Because 8 times 5 is 40. But you could also divide it into 4 times 10, right? And so square root of 4 times square root of 10. Why square root of 4? Because square root of 4 is 2. So x could be plus or minus 2 square root of 10. This is an acceptable answer. To me, this is an acceptable answer. But your book wants you to go a little bit deeper. So, what you need to do is literally try to approximate. So that's why we need our handy dandy calculators, that when we actually put the square root of 10, well, we could actually just put 2 square root of 10, enter, and it gives us something like 6.3245. So I'm going to say that x is approximately, and approximately is squiggly equals, is going to be 6 point, how many decimal places does it want it to? To the nearest thousandth. Okay, so this is the 10th place, this is the 100th place, and this is the 1000th place. And so it's about that, or it's about negative 6.325, because that's what it got in the calculator. Are you guys seeing this? Maybe if oh yeah, there we go. Focus. Focus. Yeah, good enough. All right, let's move on to the other one. Okay, so in the next one, we're going to add 24 to both sides. And so it's going to be 8x squared equals 124. And then I'm going to divide by 8 on both sides. And I can actually divide this by 4. I'm going to divide by 4. I know you could probably divide by 8, but I'm not going to use a calculator, even though it's right there. But, you know, sometimes you just need to exercise your noodle. So what's the problem with that? So in here, if I divide by 4, this is going to be obviously a 2. This is going to be a 3. And this is going to be a 1. 31. I get 31 halves? For realsies? Yeah, because 4 times 30 is 120, and 1 times 4 is 4, obviously. And 120 plus 4 is 124. So I do get 31 halves. 31 halves is going to be the same thing as, pardon me, so indiscreet, showing my shoulder. It's going to be 15 and 1/2. Boom. Okay. And then we're going to square root both sides. And x is going to be square root of 15.5, which is the same thing, okay? Plus minus. Oops, forgot the plus minus. Can't forget that, very important. And so the square root of 15.5, again, my handy dandy calculator. There's nothing on it yet. So you can see, maybe if I put it right here. Yeah, that one's a little bit better. Is going to be square root of 15.5. And you're going to get an approximate of 3.93. You see right there? Yes, I think you see. All right, so it's going to be, x is going to be approximately 3.93, or x could also be negative 3.93, and that would be it for example 2. No, the second example of 3, okay? Example 3b, by the way. So, yes, you do need your calculator. If we ask you for exact answers, give us this. But if we ask you for approximate answers, then give us this. That's what the example is saying. So, catch you tomorrow. Probably going to be wearing the same thing in tomorrow's video, because I told you I was going to go back to back to back to back. So, it's going to be 4 classes back to back to back to back. All right? Because I think it's easier for me. All right. See you tomorrow.